Celtics win 105-88. This is the Garden Report, Celtics blog, and CLNS Radio. So the Celtics finally beat the Bobcats. It's about damn time. They're getting crushed by the Bobcats. They lose pretty big earlier this week. They win 105-88 on a Saturday night edition of the Garden Report. It's pretty rare that we have these Saturday night games for the Celtics. Yeah. But Sean is away from the kids and the wife tonight to break it down for you. Sean Backey, the lead editor of CLNS Radio, and I'm the locker room reporter from CLNS Radio. We're doing it without the Celtics blog boys tonight. They get to have fun on their Saturday night. The Celtics had fun compared to the last time they played the Bobcats. They win 105-88. We're going to quickly break this game down for you, but there was the news that broke before the game, a little bit after the game, and what's going to happen on Monday. That's the big thing. As you have heard by now, Kevin Garnett missed tonight's game with a left adductor strain, which through my Google image searching turns out to be, I believe, the hamstring, although we haven't really gotten a confirmation on exactly where the adductor is, but that's kind of like a muscle in the hamstring. And they knew, it turns out, from Courtney Lee told me after the game, that it turns out they actually knew about this yesterday, even though Doc kind of casually brought it up during his pregame press conference.
Very casually.
Yeah, so that wasn't something they announced off the bat. I think they were trying to keep it hidden as long as they could. Of course, somebody was going to ask, are there any changes to the starting lineup? He'd have to be, KG's not active. So they have to play defense without Kevin Garnett, which is something that they struggled with mightily for most of the season. How'd they do today?
I thought they did a good job. I particularly like how they were able to out-rebound the Bobcats, and they really guarded them well on the perimeter. They made the Bobcats, they forced them into bad shots, and they were able to rebound and get back on transition.
And big thing was Brandon Bass had to play the 5 tonight. And what's good, or maybe bad, is that the Bobcats, they have a stretch 5 in Byron, don't call me BJ Mullins. Yeah, he's a guy that, let's see how many threes he took tonight. He took, only 1 for 2. Took me a second to find him because he actually came off the bench tonight. But he went 1 for 2 from deep. He had to cover Biyombo, who kind of just floats around the basket a little bit. So he had his mix of between guarding, having to cover Mullins out deep, and then Biyombo underneath the rim. So we kind of got to show off where he kind of thrives, is underneath the rim a little bit. But how do you think that Brandon Bass looks as a 5 when he has to fill in for Kevin Garnett?
I thought he looked good, and I thought he got a lot of confidence on offense, hit a shot early tonight, got off to a good start, and he was able to rebound well as well, had 6 rebounds tonight, ended up with 10 points in his 31 minutes. So I thought the confidence that he got from hitting his shot also helped him on defense as well, because, obviously they were able to out-rebound him, and he was a big part of that.
Yeah, and he went 5 for 9 from the field tonight, I believe. It was a good game. He played 32 minutes.
Very efficient.
A lot of that was because they got into a huge lead at the end of the third quarter. Fourth quarter, they went with pretty much all of their reserves. Williams, Randolph, White, Crawford, and Terry getting a lot of those minutes there at the end of the game. So does Bass, do you think he can carry this into the fourth quarter when he has to play the Heat, possibly without Kevin Garnett on Monday?
And he's going to have to. He's going to be counted on. Doc's really going to look at him to step up. And he said it in the locker room after the game that him and the rest of the guys are going to have to step up if KG's not able to go on Monday.
All right, well, let's hear what Bass had to say after the game.
I think we picked up our defensive intensity. We pushed the ball up the floor, and we made buckets.
What was the mindset when you found out KG couldn't go tonight?
Kind of the same approach. I know I was going to have to pick up my talk because KG usually do all the talking out there. But, defend, rebound, and score when I get opportunity.
Okay, let's talk about another big. This is a guy that we haven't really seen at all so far. Doc has talked about the fact that he's not going to force DJ White and Shavlik Randolph into minutes because he's not going to try to carve out minutes for them. They're backups. They're going to stay backups. But, of course, tonight with KG out, the pecking order kind of moves up. And Randolph actually got out there with the second unit. He was the 5 for the second unit. And he comes out there in his first – I thought it was just about his first play. He gets like 4 offensive rebounds basically on his own missed shots. Never sinks the bucket. But he finishes the game with 8 rebounds, 4 of them offensive. He went 3 for 9 shooting, which isn't great, but he missed like an open jumper in the fourth quarter. He's not going to be a scorer for you, but he did his job rebounding, right?
Yeah, and I thought he brought a lot of good energy. I mean, he was only out there 15 minutes tonight. I thought he really, rebounded well. Obviously, like you said, on the offensive glass, he did have one lay-in for an and one and had a nice dunk later in the game as well.
Yeah.
But I just thought his energy was really good out there.
And I mean, he's talked about this, how he's had to make the transition, at least coming from Duke to the NBA, going from being the man to being barely making the roster. And then he's experienced that once again going to the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association. It's still hard for me to say the CBA and not think of the Continental Basketball Association. Thanks, Isaiah, for ruining that one too. But he's had to make this transition from being the big star for his team in the CBA to coming here and barely even seeing any playing time. And tonight, he was able to kind of stay into it. And a lot of guys, when they have to go through that experience, they have a lot of trouble of staying motivated. He seems like a very professional, well put together guy, as you'll see in a second when he talks. But I think he's done a really good job so far of getting off the bench and immediately trying to really make something happen underneath and using his tenacity and his motor to make himself effective, which is really crucial for guys at the end of the roster.
Yeah, and I think he knows his role, and he just goes out there and plays his game. He's not trying to do too much out there. Just enough to.
I think he did a little. I think he tried a little too much.
Maybe
out
a little
there.
bit tonight, yeah. But I think he played within himself tonight and had great contribution in his 15 minutes.
Good. Having fun with this guy. He's pretty good on the Garden Report. No, I mean, no Jimmy Toscano. But,
no, absolutely
but you do
not.
rock the red pretty
Thank
much
you.
as well as
Thank
Jimmy
you.
does.
Yes.
And he does have a beard. It seems like everybody on the show has a beard for some reason. All right, well, let's go on to boxing out now. Your Saturday night. Sean, what is it for you?
Well, there's a lot to choose from tonight. They spread the offense around pretty good, but I got to go with Paul Pierson's 8 assists. He only played 23 minutes tonight, which I think is good going forward. But he moved the ball around, was a good facilitator tonight with the 8 assists.
And his penetration was good, but it was really just kind of like a doing everything kind of night for him.
Yeah, it was one of those nights for him. And 4-7 shooting, hit a couple of threes, and he really spread it on. Had 6 rebounds as well, but I thought the assists really stood out tonight.
Can we amend your Saturday night to go from the fact that he has 8 assists alone to the fact that he had more assists than field goal attempts in this game?
Yeah,
I mean, we got to get
that's a pretty
stats
good
at him on
stat.
that. I don't know if that's ever happened in his career. I've never seen that happen.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah. So stats Adam can get on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so for me, it's the offensive rebounding. Doc said before the game that their biggest issue is that they got killed on the offensive glass in the last game or last couple games against them. And they come out and they beat them 10-2. I wrote over here 6. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can barely read my box score. But they beat them 10-6 on the offensive glass. So great offensive rebounding for the Celtics. And a lot of that really came from Randolph. I mean, just great performance from Randolph, doing exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, a lot of it
him.
came on one play.
Yeah, because he either had 2 or 3 offensive rebounds on the play where he
I mean, he had 4 offensive rebounds in the first half.
Yeah.
Pretty much in the second quarter. So.
You know what? He got 4. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if it's his fault or not.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's move on to Baller of the Night. This is the segment that we do every single freaking game, so you probably are familiar with it at this point.
Very, very.
All right. Well, why don't you hit me with it?
I have to go with Shavlik Randolph tonight. He played only 15 minutes tonight, but I thought his contribution was huge with 6 points, 8 rebounds, had a couple of steals as well. So, him coming off the bench and getting some more minutes tonight with KG out, I thought was really big.
All right, I'm trying not to chicken out here. I'm going to do Brandon Bass just because I committed to it before I just taped
I thought
this.
he had a great game tonight.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
he got off to a hard start and
But
played really well.
And I mean, his role tonight was just fill in for KG defensively.
Yeah.
Just don't let us get killed on the inside. Because the first game they got killed in transition, and they got killed on the rebounding. Second game they got killed on dribble penetration. Just they needed Brandon to step up, wall off the perimeter well. He did it. I mean, you look at their backcourt. They could, Henderson 6 for 12, Walker 6 for 13, good but not great. Gordon 4 for 11, and Jadara Pargo is on the Bobcats all of a sudden. It's crazy.
He just
5
got
for
signed
12.
a week or so
exactly.
ago. Yeah.
Like,
He had a good game off the
He got
bench
signed like
tonight.
2 days ago. Actually, I'm pretty sure he just signed with
very
them.
recent.
I remember just seeing that. But Gordon killed them last time.
Yeah,
And
he had
Henderson,
17 points off the bench Tuesday night, and
Exactly.
I don't think his shooting percentage was that high, but
8 points
so
tonight.
only 8 points tonight, and most of that was in the first half. 6 points in the first half for him, so they really slowed him down. Like I said, their perimeter defense was a lot better tonight than it was on Tuesday night when they got blown out by the Bobcats.
Okay, now Monday is what you really care about. Miami comes to town. They're on the second night of a back-to-back that night, but they do face the Raptors, who the Celtics just proved is a bit of a walkover. Even with it's amazing how the Raptors haven't gotten any better since adding Rudy Gay. I feel bad for them. I got family in Toronto. I got friends in Toronto. I feel bad for them, but they face Miami possibly without Kevin Garnett. There's no expectation of him being out, but Doc didn't know at that point what the decision was on Kevin Garnett. But we found out after the game. Courtney Lee told us that he knew yesterday that Kevin wasn't going to play. So this is something that they've known for 24 hours now. They probably, at least by tomorrow, will have a pretty good understanding of what his status is. Yeah, but I mean, even with Garnett, they're coming in on a possibly 22-game winning streak. They snapped that streak for the Rockets a few years ago at 22 games. Can they do it again against the Heat?
Without Garnett, it's going to be really tough. I think, the way the Miami Heat are playing right now, they can beat just about anybody. And, the way LeBron has amazingly stepped his game up even more, it's going to be really hard for the Celtics to break that streak if it's still alive on Monday.
But with Garnett?
With Garnett, I give him every shot in the world. I think, hopefully this is just more precautionary than anything with the adductor strain, and he'll be ready to go because he gets up for those big games against Miami Heat.
Also, could be more holding him out for the Bobcats game so he can be in the Miami game.
Could be, yeah.
But, I mean, it's important to remember that this win over the Bobcats has the exact same value in the standings in the playoff race as it does against the Heat, because they're 15 or 14 and a half games back, I think, right now, the Heat. So they're not catching the Heat with just this one win over them.
Absolutely not.
But let's look at the standings quickly. They're only 3 games out of third place, which is the spot that they need. They need that. They need that third place spot there. But they sit. There's a few games back behind the Knicks, who are slipping really badly. They're on this awful road trip where Melo had to get sent home. Amari's out for the year. Chandler got hurt. The Knicks could be slipping out of that third place spot there. Nets could come up in that spot, but the Celtics are the ones that seem to be kind of pushing ahead a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, in the stretch right now, they have a lot of games that they can win. Even the Miami game, we saw what they did with Miami the last time the two teams played, but they have a stretch where they could go on a good run right now. So if the Knicks keep falling and, if the Nets falter a little bit, they can really move up in the standings in the Eastern Conference.
All right, Sean. Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Fun keeping it in the CLNS family, but you can tune into this show on CelticsBlog.com, CLNSradio.com, listen to it play on the CLNS podcast feed, and of course check out the Celtics blog YouTube page. A lot of Celtics and blogs and .com thrown around in there. But SBN Celtics blog is the YouTube channel name. For Sean Backey, my name is Jared Weiss. We'll see you next time, Monday night, Miami Heat. Big time Garner report. We'll see you then.